Hi, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Hey guys, we've loved answering all of your questions so far. If you'd like to hear your question on the podcast, please send them to us on Instagram at Wheel Talk Podcast or by email to wheeltalkpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Hi.
We're live.
We're live.
We're recording a little differently today, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully you shouldn't hear the mic issues.
Well, hopefully there is no mic issues and I can just do this when I'm like in a tough spot, you know?
Yeah, we're using the Skype just like we do if we interview somebody, so
yeah.
We'll try this out and see how it goes.
Yeah. Let's see. I am in Memphis right now in my best friend's garage with both of my cats.
Yeah,
And
you were officially out.
I'm officially moved out of my apartment. And it has been a moment getting here.
I mean, you're supposed to not move out for another 8 days or 10 days, so.
Well, the plan was to always come down here for Christmas, but it was to come down here and then go back up to Indiana. And then I was like on the phone with Brandon and Teresa, and I was like, I haven't even looked at the distance from Memphis to Colorado versus Indiana to Colorado. And this was like 4 days ago. And and he looked it up, Brandon looked it up while we were talking on the phone. And he was like, oh, it's 15 hours from Memphis and it's 15 hours from Indiana. And I was like, well, that makes no sense to go back to Indiana. so
Did you just think it was going to be closer, or you thought you were going to have to tie some things up?
Yeah, I thought I would have to tie some things up, but also I was like, I would like just assumed that Memphis would be farther away, you know. But
I mean, it's a lot further south, so
yeah.
I would suspect you got to get up to the middle of the country and kind of go west.
Yeah, Kansas, you got to go up and then go west on 70. So
yeah.
So yeah, and so I packed up, and I was supposed to leave on Monday and ended up leaving on Tuesday because we were waiting on a kiln. So my studio mate Merritt, this is going to be a long story.
My studio mate firing.
Yeah, my studio mate Merritt had a huge commission, like too big to comfortably ship. Commission down in Nashville, and I was like, Merritt, I'll just drive it.
Yeah. Was it like one big piece or like a whole set?
A huge platter, and it was phenomenally gorgeous. It was so pretty.
Okay.
And it was a huge platter. And so I was like, Merritt, I'll just drive it down. It's 45 extra minutes, no problem. And so she just gave me the shipping money and I drove it down. But it wasn't finished. And I had 4 plates in this firing too. And it wasn't finished in time for me to like go down to your parents' house, then go down to Nashville, then go to Memphis. I would have arrived at like midnight, and I've already done that. I don't want to do it again. So I was like, you know what? I'll just leave in the morning.
Yeah. I didn't really know what your rush was to leave, because I thought you were originally saying you were going to leave Sunday.
Well, it was not really a rush, I suppose, but it's not really a rush, but I just like wanted to come here. You know? It's like,
well, I felt like you were getting very anxious with like getting out of your apartment. You were like, I was like, Becca, like some of these decisions I just don't understand. But I'm like, I get it. Like she's stressed. She wants to just get out of this situation and be done with it.
I mean, that's how I am too. And you mean giving away stuff and stuff?
Yeah. I was like, you're talking about money and then you're like giving things away and then you're talking about trash and stuff. And I'm like, but I get it. Like you've got a deadline, but also like, I don't know.
Yeah. And also I think that I've gotten to the point where I have sold, given, taken. I've moved so many times that at some point things of value aren't valuable. Like
to you though.
To me.
Rachel and I always have that conversation. She's like, this is worth nothing. I'm like, it's worth something to somebody, even if you just donated it. So I was trying to get you to the donate situation.
I donated a ton.
Okay.
I donated most of the things. I threw away a TV. I'm sorry.
I mostly couldn't figure out the TV thing. I was like, at least just sit it on the ground next to the trash.
Well, for one, the remote was gone.
So what?
Two, it did not have good color.
So what?
I know, but
Some kid that doesn't have a TV could be playing their
also,
video game on it or something, you know. I don't know.
I know.
That's what
but
I would. I'm just like salvage anything, everything.
Here's the deal. If there was a dumpster that wasn't picked up every single day, I would have set it right next to the dumpster. But if I set it next to it and it was still there by the time that the people came to pick it up, then they have to put it in the dumpster. And like, I don't know. I'm weird about that stuff. Anyway, the TV went in the trash. I'm sorry.
I tried to save a TV. It couldn't happen. It's okay.
It's okay. The world needs less TVs. I'm sorry. So, but I packed up the 2 cats and left at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. And then Lloyd
You're talking about not getting a good night's sleep. Like you couldn't even sleep. And
I couldn't even sleep.
You ended up leaving at 7 still.
Yeah, left at 7. Went and sanded down Merritt's pot.
And you sanded it for? Oh, because you had to get it out of the kiln.
Well, she got it out of the kiln. The foot was trashed. She said it was trashed. It wasn't that bad. There was a few nicks out of the bottom.
Well, TLC.
Yeah. So I just sanded, and she was freaking out, and I was like, Merritt, I literally sand things for a living. It'll be fine. like it's fine. And so I sanded it down for her, and then took it, and then went down to your mom's house, and then met her, and I had the cats. And typically I like to leave, like, I didn't know how Babs would be in the car, but I did know how Lloyd would be. He hides for a bit, and then he figures it out, comes up and sits next to me. Babs doesn't do that.
You never had Babs in the car, have you?
I mean, I've like driven her to the vet, and of course you just leave her in the carrier. Babs,
not for any distance, really.
Babs hid under my seat for the entire drive. Entire drive. She did not move an inch. Well, she did. She moved between the pillow and the seat so she could be comfier. and what was worse was that Lloyd would hop down, hiss at her, and then hop back up. I'm like, you are such a fucking asshole. Like,
yeah, it's like, what's the point here?
This bitch is having a hard fucking
here.
Time. Yeah, well, there wasn't that much space. Let's be real.
You had stuff piled on your passenger seat and stuff too?
Yeah, there was like there's not a lot of space.
Okay.
But she was just petrified. And so I should have grabbed her out and put her in her carrier. And now that I think about it, I should have done that. But we got here, got her in the garage. She hid pretty dramatically. And then Lloyd was hissing at her and hissing at the girls and hissing at everybody because he just couldn't figure out his surroundings. And then we left him here overnight. He was still kind of bad this morning, and then we separated them and we put Babs in the garage that has the van in it, my friend's van, and she just went straight under the van, and we were like, okay. And then like an hour later, I was like, I need to. Oh, because he had to use some woodworking tools, so we put him in there so that he could.
Wasn't so loud and all that stuff.
Yeah. And so we went over there and we were trying to get Babs back into here so she could eat and stuff, and we could not find her. And I was like using my AirTag because I put AirTag collars on them.
Right.
I'm like using my AirTag to like find her and ringing it, and it sounds like it's like coming from the van. And I was like, oh no. And Brandon's like, I'll get the keys. And so he pops the trunk. Pops the hood. Bab is sitting on the engine under the hood.
How did she get?
I don't know. She climbed up the engine and sat between the hood and the engine, and she was scared shitless. Like, and at that point,
because she was in that room?
I don't know. Just because she's just scared. She was just scared. And so at that point, Brandon was like, I'm taking her inside. So we took her inside. We put her in the closet where she was safe. It was warm. It was quiet.
Mhm.
And the girls would go in there and pet her, and Brandon would go in there and pet her. And so she finally like settled down. I brought her in here, and now she's like completely normal. So that's good. But it has been I was like a little scared there for a second. I was like, I've traumatized my cat for life. Like, yeah.
Well, imagine you don't know what's going on and you're like transported, like every surrounding is different and you don't know what you're looking at.
I know. I felt really bad. But now we know if they get transported and Lloyd starts hissing, I just need to put him in a dark place by himself. Let him be. He explored outside a little bit for the first time today. Did really well. Stayed where he could see me. And
nice.
Yeah. So
the collars are good that they can keep that on and they're not fighting to rip it off and stuff. You got the air tag for it, so.
Yeah, no, they're both pretty good about the collars. So.
Yeah. I felt that a little bit when we first moved into this house because I was like, oh man, are the cats going to be like weird when we first take them there? Because they're not going to know what's going on. But like we're pretty standard around and they've been in the same spot for a long time. So it's like they figure it out.
It would be fine if Lloyd didn't have this issue with the hissing. Like,
because she doesn't know like where to go for safety because she doesn't even know where she's at.
Right. And so it's like not only are they in a brand new place, but Lloyd is like mentally ill, out of his mind. If for people that don't know, Lloyd has an aggression thing that happens to him. It happens to some cats where he when he gets scared, he just starts hissing. Like he will literally just hiss at a wall. Like it's not like he's hissing at anybody. He's just scared shitless, so he hisses. And it's very scary for Babs and for any other cat. And so that is the biggest issue. If they were both like loved each other, they'd be fine. You know, they'd be like, I'm scared to be here, but it's fine. But since every time he saw her was like, you know.
Yeah. So how are you with the getting things out and moving and
great
being gone?
I was driving down and I was like, I feel so good to just like, I don't know. I've always felt really comfortable in vehicles and just to like not
Does it feel like the switch is officially like
a little bit? Me and Brandon have to insulate the van, but I think that's going to happen in the next couple days.
Okay.
And then we
you're
can
going to
put
be driving
everything
through some colder areas, I'm suspecting.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't worry too much about it if it was just me, but since the cats are with me, you know. But I am going to drop the cats off at my parents' house, hopefully. I might take just Lloyd with me. Part of me is kind of hoping that my parents fall in love with Babs. And then they're like, we'll take her.
They'll take Babs, yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be lovely.
We'll see what happens.
She's so sweet. Like, how could you
Do you think they'd be more likely to let you leave Babs, but not both of them?
I mean, for the month, the couple months that I'll be gone, I can leave both of them. I got permissions from my mom, but I think that Lloyd would like to come. It would be fun to kind of adapt with him, and then once he's adapted, bring Babs in.
Yeah. Do you think he would let off? Hopefully, he would be like, "I'm comfortable here," but hopefully, he's not like, "This is my domain."
No, I think he'd be like, "I'm comfortable here," and when she comes back, be like, "Bitch, this is mine."
Hopefully, he's like, "I'll give you your distance," but
yeah, exactly.
Or I don't know, maybe Lloyd would be able to chill out in the back and Babs. Well, I don't know. You said both of them kind of want to be by you, so
yeah,
it probably wouldn't be one of them in the back chilling on the bed and one of them by you.
If I'm driving, Lloyd's right next to me.
Yeah.
So, like, good luck.
Right.
And Babs is more of a I'll keep my distance but look at you type person anyway, or cat anyway. So, And they could sleep next to each other just fine. They're just not going to sleep together, you know? So, yeah, but I feel great. I feel like when I left, I was like, you know, packing is the fucking worst. And I have to honestly, like, give props to Rebecca because she helped me so much. That like last 2 hours, I was like, I don't know what to do.
Because it's all the odds and end things that
yes,
you're like, I want to just throw it away. Just throw it away.
Yeah, just like all this stuff. And I was like, and she's like, we got this. And she starts throwing shit into my car. And I'm like a super meticulous packer. And she's just like throwing things. And I'm like, what the fuck? Just, it was like a car wreck.
It's probably so damn cold too.
It was pretty chilly, but it wasn't too bad, thankfully. But yeah, so we got all of it together and I got some of it out here. And then today, and yeah, I just drove here. And today I threw a few mugs for my friend's parents for their Christmas gift. And they're in the kiln right now. But yeah, I feel good. I feel like.
They're in your kiln? Your small kiln?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I saw you threw a few things. I didn't know what they were, but.
Yeah, I taught Paige how to make little pinch pots. She's 6.
Mm-hmm.
She did great. So
sweet.
She's really interested. So while I'm here, I'm going to teach her as much as I can. And then.
Is this where your Soldner, your old Soldner is?
Yeah, it's right over there.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured it would be. I wanted Paige to be able to have access to a wheel if she wanted to. I was thinking about today how like privileged.
Paige is like the preteen, right?
No, she's 6.
6. Okay. Is that the one you're playing chess with? No.
No, that's Molly. That's Molly. Val's kid.
Val's child. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Okay. And I was thinking Molly was the one that you were taking the wheel to so she could throw, but it's Paige, which is 6, in case she wants to maybe, or you just want to store it there.
No, I think that, I mean, Brandon wants to kind of get into it too and just try it out. And they have the space to store it, but like Paige really wants to learn. And so
cool.
I'm like, I didn't have that opportunity when I was 6 years old. Like,
right.
How freaking cool is it that
you'd really only have that if like your parent was a potter or
like
did ceramics.
Yeah. How awesome is it that like we set up a cardboard box and a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old just gets to play with clay for like 2 hours while I throw. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's freaking cool.
It's definitely cool being or good for them being around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
And you got some sales at the end of the year too. I just finished my last sale over the weekend.
Yeah.
So
how'd that go?
I did so it was considered the city flea. It was at Washington Park again. So I was at Washington Park 2 weekends in a row. I don't know if we talked after the last one, but I think we did.
Didn't. No, we
didn't. We didn't?
We talked, but we didn't record it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I did a show on Saturday at Washington Park. That was kind of the slow and steady one. I think I sold about 1,300, something like that. That was a similar show that you did for the weekend prior to that.
Yeah.
And then this weekend was a Saturday-Sunday event, but I only did the Sunday one. It was associated with the City Flea, which is a really popular market that is monthly here in Cincinnati. It's kind of like the hip market where they got a lot of like apparel and like vintage stuff and candles and scents and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's not a ton of handmade pottery and like craft, I wouldn't say. But I sold good there. I sold about 1,700 at that one. So it was good. And I had the hut again, which was really comfortable. I had that 2 weekends in a row. It was a little chilly without that, but.
Dude, did you just leave your stuff in the hut? I would have. I just left it in the hut.
No, I was only there on Sunday.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it was 11 to 5 Sunday. And the 11 start time is great.
I love it.
Normally I'm like, oh man, start at 10 so we can get going sooner and get done by 4. But it's not that bad. I mean, it's getting dark by 5, so it's inevitable at that time of year you're going to be tearing down in the dark anyways. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I like got there and then I got set up by shit, I don't know, 10:15, and then I walked over to Findlay Market. It's like 10-minute walk, got some lunch,
Mhm.
and then walked back with a sandwich and stuff. So it was pretty good. I did that 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah. That sounds
Yeah,
great.
take your time. You don't have to worry about because inevitably I would not eat breakfast, get there, whatever, sell all day, maybe eat a granola bar, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the day'd be over. So, and then I'd be starving when I got done. So, yeah, it was pretty good. Good finish to the year with the sales in person. I was still getting some trickles from Etsy and whatnot, but yeah, sales are pretty much done for the year.
Yeah, I have two that like came in on my square,
Hmm
and I need to ship them out, and I'm like, ugh,
I saw
okay.
somebody commented on one of your Facebook posts asking if you had anything left.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was on your when you had the pile of stuff, I think, and somebody
The
was like, "Do
mystery
you still
box.
have anything left?" No, no, no. Where you were standing with the pile of all your pots on the cart
Oh,
when you're packing up into your vehicle.
yeah.
Somebody asked, so
I should probably respond.
there might be a looming sale there.
Yeah, I like forgot my fell down the cat tree again. I forgot I forgot my label printer, and so I have to figure out a label situation.
Hmm
Because that's gonna be necessary on the road. I was seeing if
Right.
maybe my mini label printer would work because I have to cut the 4x6s in half anyway to go in the jewelry boxes. So
How big is your mini one? Is that for like putting stickers on inventory in shops and stuff?
yeah,
Is that kind of what it's meant for? Okay.
I think it would be big enough, but I'd have to buy more labels for it, which is fine. But
Can it
it's a
just
lot.
print longer lengthwise?
Yeah, so it would print. It's a 2.3 by it's 2 and 5/16 wide,
Oh
and
wow.
then a 4-inch long label. That's what it would be. 2 and 5/16 wide and 4-inch long, which I think would be big enough. I
I
mean,
don't
all I
know.
need is the barcode.
I don't know. I mean, I think USPS there's other shit on there to make sure it's got like the F for first class, it's got the P for priority, it's got the name and shit. Like,
I mean, you can still see the name, but maybe I'll just get the other one.
yeah, I'm gonna let you use my old Rolo.
Yeah, that would be
Probably.
great. Have you already shipped the box to Teresa and Brandon?
No, but it's packed up and taped up. I actually just got the pound and all that stuff. It won't fit. I didn't fit everything in there. I still
Well, you
got
could
one.
send another box.
I still got one piece. I could send another box. I might
Send the
actually have.
Rolo with the one piece
I might be able to do that.
and call it a business expense
Well, I'm calling it a
from
wheel
Wheel
talk
Talk. Yeah,
expense.
a Wheel Talk expense on behalf of both of us.
Yeah, you threw me off when you were talking about driving and all this stuff and not going through Louisville anymore, and I was like, shit, how am I gonna get you my stuff that goes to Clay
I
Contest?
I honestly didn't even think about it. It was like that was like my last
I
priority.
was like, Becca.
I know. And then I was like, how do I
And we
do
saw
this?
you like 3 weekends in a row. I was like, man, if you'd have known this before, I could have got it to you like last week.
It was such a last minute decision. Yeah. Yeah.
But I was like, oh, it's okay. That's what we have Wheel Talk money for. We can ship it.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So I just hope everything arrives safely. So
Me too. I think it will. I feel like bigger boxes, they don't throw them around, especially if they're heavy. So,
yeah, it'll be UPS. It's like 20 pounds.
yeah. Yeah, and then you can still put a few things in your luggage if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I had that extra piece and some
Yeah.
little shot glasses that I'll take the shot glasses probably in my luggage. That's not very
Yeah.
big, so yeah. So
Yep.
you also check us out at ClayCon West. We'll be doing a talk on Friday of the
Mm-hmm.
event. Registration, I believe, is still open. St. George,
Yeah.
Utah.
And I will also be doing a workshop after ClayCon West at the Tilted Kiln, which is Joe's shop, which is in St. George, Utah. And I'll be doing a workshop. It's a 2-day workshop. Well, it's a 1-2-day optional workshop. So the first day is an intensive, not really, I don't even know if it's intensive or not, but we're going to go over production style throwing and how to improve, be faster, more efficient. And then the second day is one-on-one appointments with everybody from the workshop, doing 30-minute segments from what we learned the day before, so that we can secure those skills
and kind of tailor it to that person a little bit.
Make sure we're doing exactly what you need to work on, because that's my biggest issue with workshops, is that you always leave and you're like, oh fuck. How do I apply this?
Yeah, how do you I feel like I usually get kind of influenced at the workshops, like, oh, this is kind of getting me like, oh, I want to try this thing, and then you get back to your studio and I kind of forget some things, and I write notes. Like any event that I write notes at, how often do I go back and look at those notes? Almost never.
Right. And people will be able to record. I think I'm gonna I didn't bring a tripod, but I'm sure Joe has a tripod that we can set up and then just point it at the wheel, so you can use your phone to record what we talk about.
Yeah. He says you might put that on your Patreon, possibly.
Maybe, yes.
If you record it.
I am for sure going to work on a video, like an intro video of what is the most like common mistakes, made, and how I would teach a class, and start selling it for like $30.
Yeah.
Efficiency 101 with Becca Otis.
Yes. Learn the Otis method.
The Botus method.
Botus.
Do you have anything else that happened? Anything exciting? Anything new?
I'm just excited to get some time off work and work in the studio a lot these days. I've been throwing like crazy.
Good.
I remember I had that goal of 5,500 for the year. I haven't quite tracked. Well, I've been tracking month by month, but I don't think I'm anywhere close to hitting it. But I might throw like 600 pieces this month. Like,
I don't doubt it.
I've been throwing like crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to get some studio time in. Yeah, looking forward to 2023 and seeing like what's gonna happen. I was like looking at shows today on my list and like picking specific ones. Like, I want to do this one, I want to do this one, I don't want to do that one. So I want to kind of not overwhelm myself as much with the shows, pick very specific ones. And I actually got 3 commissions in the last like 4 days from past customers. They're pretty easy. Like, one of them is for 4 kind of wide, shallow bowls, similar to a pair that they already got at a show.
Yeah.
And then one person wants, I think some cereal bowls maybe? And then somebody else that talked to me came to my home show, and she's going to get a dinnerware set. Actually, she's going to get a 4-piece dinnerware set.
Oh, nice.
For 4 people. So it's like 2 plates, cereal bowl, and a tumbler.
Nice. Did the person ever reply to you about that carved dinnerware set?
No, not yet. I don't think she's going to. We talked about that on here, but I actually showed Becca and like talked to Becca about like what I told her.
Yeah.
But it was pretty costly.
It was.
I don't have my paper, but it was whew.
That's
I do. It's right here.
Oh, there you go.
It's right here.
What was the total?
Oh man, I didn't write the total per set. I just wrote individually. Let's see. Okay, so we did the bowl. The cereal bowl is $40. That's what it retails for anyways. And then I did a sandwich plate carved for $40. And then
I'm doing the adding.
And then I did a dinner plate for 55.
Okay.
And then she wanted a mug and saucer for 80. $215 a set.
Okay, times 8. 17.
I think she said 6 or 8. Well, actually, no. I think she said 8 or 16, didn't she?
Yeah, she did say 8 or 16. 17.20 for 8.
No fucking way.
34.40 for
no
6.
shot in hell.
That's a whole month's work for me.
Thing is, I mean, we kind of talked about it. Like, I priced it to not get it ideally, because like I don't want to drop everything for this. But if I do get it, I will have to drop everything for this, basically. So, I mean, not drop everything, but I'm gonna have to put some focus on it. But like the dinnerware set, I adjusted my timeline, so it's like 6 to 8 weeks. Plus, she like gave the least resistance of like, yeah, I'm excited about it. And then I like wrote up a sketch. Here's the sketch, and she's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do the 4-piece for 4 people. Send me an invoice. And I was like, all right, I sent it. She's like, I paid it. You know, it was quick, like all within a day. She's on it.
Wow.
So I think those shows, and she came to my show. She was one of the holiday show that she came in and she got like 6 pieces and spent like $250 like that.
That's crazy.
And she was excited about getting pots for gifts, and she'd moved there from, I think, Florida up to this area for a job. And so she's like happy to be in the area and see what it's about, and it's good stuff. So I'm excited about that. We'll see. I don't know. Hopefully I don't get overwhelmed. And then I just did this. I shared this on the Wheel Talk account. I just randomly thought of this because I was looking back at my emails from a wholesaler and saying like, okay, what wholesalers are coming up that I need to get in contact with? And I saw that I delivered some stuff in January, so I was like, okay, I should reach out to these people. And I was telling them like, happy holidays, thanks for the help this year and stuff. So, and then I ended up just writing some thank you notes. So I got a pack of holiday cards and sent thank you notes to all my wholesalers and consignment shops, thanking them for the help this year and looking forward to next year. So it was kind of like getting in their ear a little bit for next year, as well as just like, hey, thanks so much kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was only 12. So I saw somebody messaged us on the Wheel Talk account that said like, oh, that's like 90 people. And I was like, holy shit. Could you imagine having 90 wholesale clients or consignment shops? I don't. 90 seems
Rebecca,
like a lot.
I'm sure, has that much.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't send it to every single wholesaler, but like the small ones that people get like 20 shot glasses, I'm not sending it to them, but repeat, wholesalers. Or maybe they do have 90 wholesalers. I don't know. But that's a lot. She did say she sent a thank you email to all of them, so that's nice.
Oh, that's good. I think a thank you email is appropriate.
Yeah. It did take some time. Once I started writing, I was like, shit, I would not want to write 25 of these, but also they would probably notice that you put the time in to write all these,
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it for me for now. And we have some news for the podcast, but we'll share that at a later date.
Yeah. Good things coming in 2023.
Yes. Babs has joined us. Are you sad that we don't have a third host anymore?
A little. But no, also I got stuck behind him for like 10 minutes like the other day. And I wasn't sad.
Yeah. Well, we hadn't heard from him in quite a while, so.
Yeah, because I started doing the podcast in my room that doesn't have a window.
Yeah, since you moved out of Rebecca's studio, that was kind of the last send off for the most part.
Yeah. 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 Okay, I'm sorry. You did not tell me that we were doing the top 2 comments, but I'm ready.
That's what I was doing research for.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, listener questions.
Listener questions. Do you know of any surface design workshops anywhere in the U.S. in person? Sarah Crowley Ceramics, Minnesota.
Okay, yeah. So I looked her up. She's in Minnesota. The closest one that I was seeing, and I actually visited this place. Did you go to Northern Clay Center in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a pretty nice facility, right?
Yeah, it's a super nice facility.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have workshops. I don't know if they have surface design ones, but I'm basically just going to tell you a bunch of places that are well-known places that do workshops. So you'll have to look up, I'll tell you where they're at, but you'll have to look up their websites and stuff. Like they're known for hosting workshops. So, and I'm sure I'm going to leave some things off. So somebody reach out to Sarah Crowley Ceramics if you know of any other ones near Minnesota or a place that you know of that you've been in that is good. So, Anderson Ranch is one. That one's in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few in North Carolina. Penland is a popular one.
Oh yeah.
In land. Pocosin, Pocosin. That's in North Carolina as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Aramont, that is in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I realize these are not exactly close to Minnesota at all, but hey, maybe you want a little road trip. And then I was looking on the internet and saw Ceramic Arts Network had a list of them on their site, and probably in some, documentation or, Pottery Making Illustrated or Ceramics Monthly or something like that. They actually had it listed out for the whole year by state and by country. So they had some Canada ones and some US ones, and then all the different states, and I'm guessing those places pay for advertisement in there for their different workshops they're doing. So I would suggest those to look into. And then I'm sure there's just smaller studios that are clay studios that have visiting artists every now and then.
Yeah.
You're basically going to have to do some Googling. But I've never taken any at those locations before, but I know that those are popular pottery places that do have workshops like that. And I'm sure there's some big names that I'm forgetting, but those are at least some. I was looking up Archie Bray. I know they do residencies, but I don't know if they do actual workshops for people.
Yeah.
That's in Montana.
I'm sure Red Lodge in Montana has some.
Red Lodge, yeah, that's a popular one too.
Yeah.
Is that there in Helena as well, or close to it?
I think so. It might be in Missoula, near Missoula.
But it is in Montana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Red Lodge, Montana. It's a city. One. It's a city near nothing.
I feel like it's common for those kind of studios to be out there in the middle of nowhere.
Quite literally near nothing. It is about it's on the south side, south of Billings, which is kind of in the middle of the state.
Okay. But yeah, that's a big name. I've heard of that.
Closer to Wyoming.
Yeah.
Montana's such a fucking long ass state.
Yeah, there's a bunch of big clay studios that have visiting artists, and I'm sure there's some online stuff. I know there's the Ceramic Con. Did you hear about that? Have you heard of that?
No.
It's like I listened to a chat with Rebecca from Maker's Playbook when she was talking with Elizabeth Young that's hosting it on Rebecca's podcast. So it's coming up. It's like a digital. They call it like an online summit. So it's about 20 or so presentations about a specific topic. Tim C is in it. Rebecca is in it from Maker's Playbook.
Yeah, I think I've heard her talking about it.
I think Dante's in it.
Okay.
So there's a number of artists that are in it, and they're doing different techniques, or Rebecca's talking about pricing. And there's like some business things, there's some technique focused things, and the presentations are more an hour-ish, or not, actually maybe they're not an hour, maybe they're like 40 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
And then you can download them, and it's pretty cool that they help support the artists that are actually presenting. So if you bring somebody in, you kind of get a referral for it, and you get for every membership that gets paid, you get 60% of whoever you bring in.
Oh, okay.
And then Ceramic Con gets 40%.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a cool way, instead of just getting a quick kickback of, $20 for every person you bring in, you're getting like a good amount.
Yeah.
So they can attribute the tickets back to a specific artist that brought you there, which is cool. So yeah, there's a bunch of people in there. That's a specifically digital one though. That's not an in-person one. So
yeah.
Ceramic Con. I think it's ceramic.co is their website or something, but we'll link it if you want to look it up. But yeah, I haven't done an in-person workshop in a while, but I feel like they're fun whenever I do them.
Oh my gosh, I love the one with Danny Meisinger. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anything else for that one?
No. Okay.
All right.
Next one
I did some research on, so you want to read it?
Yeah, I will ask it. Could you talk about shipping internationally from Etsy? Do you use the same tariff number for all of your items? How do you certify that all of your work is safe? McGinnis Pottery.
Okay, so I always use the same tariff code for everything.
Me too.
I use the 691200. Do you use the 231?
Yeah, because that's the one on Pot Swap.
Oh, okay.
I always have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, so the other one is 69120023.
So we're going to say it again, but before we do, write it down on a piece of paper. Pause this. Write it down on a piece of paper. Take a picture of it and save it in your favorites in your photos. Okay? It's 69120023. It's also on Pot Swap's main page in the highlights.
Mm-hmm. So that category for the 001 is just a more generic one for ceramic tableware, kitchenware, other household articles, and toilet articles other than of porcelain or china.
Yeah.
I thought the toilet articles was kind of funny.
Well,
but
toilets are made of porcelain.
That's true. And then the 231 is just further categorized as that, plus it's stoneware. So
could you imagine if somebody made a business of making like artsy toilets? That would be the fucking coolest fucking thing.
But like they did fancy glazing of toilets?
Yeah. Or like sculptural stuff on the outside. That'd be sweet.
Like you just had you had molds of toilets. You did plaster molds and then you carved on them or something?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That would be so fucking cool.
That would be weird. Like, what would be the market for that?
Everyone.
Every
rich human in the planet.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Could you imagine shipping those damn things?
Nope. How do you, speaking of, how do you certify that all of your work is safe? For one, don't use air. That's my biggest recommendation for shipping internationally. If you want to use the tiny bubble wrap, fine. But just a little bit, then use peanuts. Peanuts. Okay?
Peanuts, because they do not expand and contract.
That's
with
right.
altitude.
And you can like squish them in, and really they're just not going anywhere. You know?
Right.
I would say paper, but I feel like paper does move a little bit, which is fine domestically, but if you're shipping across the pond, just fucking use peanuts.
Yeah.
Or those Rampack. What your Rampack would be?
The Rampack's pretty good. I would also say use a little bit more. Make sure you have a little bit bigger of a gap.
Space. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't pack it as tight as if you're shipping it, from the middle of the country to California or whatever. It's got to go further, so it's going to touch a lot more hands probably.
Yep.
And more opportunities to get dropped, get piled on by other boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind.
Yep. Okay. Next one. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Next one. And Etsy is just normal, right? You just put in the tariff code and it like does it free.
Yeah, they make
Talk
you put
about
the
that.
tariff code in. They make you put the tariff code in when you're listing the items. So I just, I'm usually duplicating items that I've already created in the past, and they just stay on
Okay.
there. It's pretty easy, and when you start doing a tariff code, it'll show you if you have other ones already using that tariff code. So
Okay.
it's pretty easy. But I've never had any issues with it being like, oh, that doesn't match the tariff code or something like that. They have been adding some new restriction. Like, I feel like every now and then there's a country that adds some new requirement. Like Germany just added something where you need I forget what it is. It's like a FLID or something like that.
A FLID.
There's another letter in there too, but there's some other ID that you had to register with the German government or something. So I just excluded Germany from my shipping places now. I don't know. I've have shipped 2 or 3 things to a customer in Germany that's repeat buyer, but there's always these new things that certain countries you just have to have some new thing.
Also, regardless of Etsy or whatever, you should be shipping USPS. Do not ship UPS. Do not, and I don't think FedEx is an option.
Good note.
Good note. Do not ship UPS. You'll look at shipping. Oh, it charges you $300. They have outrageous costs. How do we know that? How do we know that? Because pot swap people were charged $300, and one of them did not contact us first.
They paid it.
And they paid it.
And then told us after.
And then they told us after. So, yeah, go USPS because your shipping cost should be anywhere. I shipped something to Lindy. It was 2 pounds.
She's in the United Kingdom.
I think it was 1 pound, 14 ounces. And she's in the United Kingdom. It cost me $25. So,
similarly to Canada, right? Is UPS
same Canada? Don't do UPS. Apparently UPS like adds an extra charge, like after. So.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, I'm sure they have some kind of agreements with. UPS. It's like, hey, it's in the country, so they've probably got certain territories that they can cover pretty comfortably. Right. But once you get outside there, like they gotta pay an arm and a leg for people to deliver stuff.
For sure.
They just don't have as wide a spread. I don't know what USPS does once it gets across the country or out of the country, but
I think it just transports to the next mail service.
Oh, okay. Like Canada Post if it goes to over there, and then their government run postal service.
Right, like over. Royal Press or whatever.
Royal Post.
It's called. Royal Post, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it is crazy how much different the price is. And then also, I believe tracking as well. Tracking is a thing that if you do tracking, it's going to also upcharge you.
Babs is really fucking cute. it's really frustrating how cute you are, Babs.
Yeah, I've heard that you don't want to do tracking on certain things because it's going to add so much more cost to the.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
But.
Yeah. Okay. And let's do the next question. Yes. This is our focused question, even though we've been talking for an hour already. The best way to restart your business after taking a year hiatus. Took one to relocate and had a baby, so just wondering where and how to start again and gain back the traction I once had. Oh, that's Mud Grove Pottery.
Yes, and I was looking her up. This is Maggie. Mud Grove. Yeah, that's tough, right? There's a lot of things going on.
There is a lot of things. I want to look at it too. Mud Grove.
She's got some cool stuff. It's very design heavy. Like very decorative on a lot of mugs.
Which is that's normal.
She's got some seasonal stuff, like fall seasonal pumpkins. things like that.
Oh yeah, I know who this is. Okay, I follow them. Wow, cool stuff, cool shit. Especially that one with the lights on it, the house with the lights.
Uh-huh.
Well, you're already at 8,000 followers, so use that to your advantage. And I mean, you're getting more traction on your stuff than I am, so.
I would. Well, I think she's talking about her business though, not just her social. But
yeah, I know.
yeah, I think and I've talked with another local potter about this because she actually just had, I don't know if it was her second baby or her first baby, but finding a new groove with the timing of things, you're just exhausted all the time,
Having a
and
kid, yeah.
finding the time to actually do things. I think the one I was talking with has a young one, and then they have a newer born as well.
Yeah, probably like a
So maybe
2-year-old and then a
like a
newborn.
6-month old or something like that.
Yeah.
So she found it beneficial to carve out slots of time that she used to do where, hey, I would find an hour here, an hour there, and I would just get in there and work on stuff. And then she found it more beneficial lately to, once they're set down to bed or whatnot, then she dedicates a longer period of time in the evening so that it's dedicated. There's less distraction and you can actually like get into a groove, I guess.
Yeah, I think that I would probably approach, especially if you have a kid. I mean, I've been here one day with 3 children and I'm exhausted. Like,
and they're like 4 and 6, right?
4, 6, and 1.5. Like,
oh gosh, okay.
Yeah.
Are they all
well,
on different
like
schedules for the most part, or is there some? Are they all on different schedules, or is there some regularity with their days?
No, it's a complete chaos. Well, I mean, grandma's here. Both grandmas are here now, and dad's stay-at-home dad, and mom goes to work. And Paige is in school. Emmy will be in school next year, so that'll be nice. But like, you know, the 1-year-old's like running around everywhere, and you got to make sure she's not falling off the chairs and like.
Right.
Eating
she doesn't exactly
straws.
know her limits. She's figuring out her limits.
Yeah, like eating straws that she picks up off the floor and like, you know, all these things. And yeah, I think that what I would say probably is leave the business side to the day and the pottery side to the night. I think is what I would probably suggest. Like, do your Instagramming during the day, do your invoicing, your emails, or whatever you do on your computer during the day when they're at naps, when when they're watching TV or whatever.
That's a great idea.
And then you can switch over, and then once they're in bed, 8 o'clock, 8:30. Well, depends on how old they are, 7:30. Then you can kind of hash out that time, but still make time to be with your partner, obviously. So like maybe that only happens 3 times a week, or 4 times a week.
Their latest arrival came in late October. So
oh yeah, fresh.
They're like 2 months old.
Fresh. Yeah,
today.
Fresh. So, but that's like that's a great time to do like the social media stuff, especially like really focus. I think this is actually good for you, right? You have a year hiatus from doing the things you moved and everything. So you've dropped some followers, you've dropped some traction on your social media, you've dropped all that stuff. Well, now you have a newborn and they're stuck to your boob the whole time and sleeping. Like that's what they do. Like they eat and they sleep. And so use that time when you're on the couch, you can't fucking do anything else, to be on your social media, be on your like computer or what you can be, and use that time to get as much marketing out as you can for when you can start making more.
Yeah. And I need to look a little bit more. I can't tell if she's mostly selling through online strictly or markets. I don't really see any market photos.
Yeah, I was
trying to see if you could like plan ahead for, what shows do I want to try, or But shows is probably not going to be as predominant with the youngin. She was doing, it looks like she used to do some scarves and material stuff.
Yeah. But also, if you don't have kids, this still applies. I think that the biggest thing that helped me get back into the game, which I feel like I'm not even still back. Like, I was going hot and heavy when I was in Washington, and I had like a good ass following. You know, TikTok was good, Instagram was good, everything was good. And then I dropped off the face of the planet, and then I came back, and it is not as good.
But isn't. I feel like you're kind of driving it as your social media is going to dictate how good your business is doing. Like,
so true.
How much you're upkeeping. But I think there's a lot can go on outside of social media that can.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. But for me, it was my social media because that's where my customers are, right? For other people, it might be going to shows or doing the things, email lists or whatever, Facebook. But I think just like reconnecting with your customer base in a way that's more, your life has changed, so be realistic about it, I feel like, too.
I actually think you could, I would say, benefit or take advantage of, not take advantage of is the right word, but like let people in to know that you're like trying to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
As a new, I don't know if this is your first child, but like as a new mom, like this is what's really going on and how I'm having to figure this out and I'm finding time, and don't feel like you have to like apologize for being absent.
No. Yeah, don't apologize for sure.
I think you're just have to
let mom. That's like the hardest job in the goddamn world.
Let people in on like what's changing and what you're going through with like adjusting to it and how it's affecting the business. Maybe you don't have to go into all the personal stuff, but you can go into some of the I'm getting some time to enjoy my first cup of coffee of the day and thinking about what I want to make on the wheel this week or next week or something.
Yeah.
Or so maybe this is where you could lean into stories a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you do have snapshots of time throughout your day, or maybe you're just so exhausted that you can't even think creatively of like, what do I want to put out that is interesting? Like some of it is just putting something that is real to people that they can relate with. Because I'm sure you're not the only one with a child that is trying to find time for their business, whether it's pottery or otherwise. Like,
and if not
tons
stories,
of people relate to that.
If you have an email following, start like a quick little blog or something about like, hey, this is what I'm struggling with this month, like with having a kid and or I don't know how many kids you have, but having a newborn and doing pottery and like, this is what I'm working on and these are my ideas. And like, people want to know that kind of stuff. Like, they don't want just the good stuff. They want the bad stuff too. You know, They want to know. They want to laugh at how your kid just like completely blew out their diaper while you were throwing a 5-pound pot, like they want to know those things. I want to know those things. That stuff is fucking hilarious.
I'm sure there's gear that people can get to have them in their studio spaces or nearby, but preoccupied while napping in the little swaddling thing while you're in your studio and making. What about the I do like the business thing during the day. Is that besides just not having your hands dirty and having to be just like doing something else in 30 minutes or in 2 minutes that you haven't thought of? Is that just because
I don't know, I just thought of it. I was just like thinking about when I watch these kids, and how the day goes. It's just like you never know what the fuck is going on. Like, and like, good luck if you do have olders. Like, good luck sitting on the couch for more than 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah, it seems like you got to plan ahead a lot more.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, I don't have a lot of time to myself, but when I do have time to myself, this is what I need to get done. So maybe that's what you use your snippets of time to say. Ideally, if I did have 6 hours, this is what I would like to get done. and see what I can get done from that list this week.
Right. So like Brandon, okay, for instance, Brandon is the stay-at-home dad to 3 girls, and 2 of them aren't in school right now. And he's doing a bunch of woodworking stuff because he finally has a shop. And so the girls go upstairs right above this garage and they play in the playroom, and he comes down and does the saw stuff, goes in and checks on them, comes down and goes in and checks on them, and like kind of goes back and forth. Or he has a TV in here, because like obviously the 1-year-old, he's not leaving, but like for a nap or whatever, you take him up, but he has a TV in here, and the kids watch the TV while he's working on stuff, and so they're distracted while he's just doing stuff, or they play outside or something like that, so yeah, it's just like never.
Yeah, I think having them at the right age is probably good too, because I've seen when we were at Josh's, like his kids are out playing together, and
like, because they're all older. It's like
to roam.
They're like 6 and up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all depends on how, I mean, we're not parents. Like, you're gonna parent totally differently than some people are. Like, some people stick their kids in front of the TV. Some people don't allow TV at all. So,
Mm-hmm.
Give them some pottery. Like me, and this is a great, like, honestly, today I sat down and threw 2 mugs, 3 bowls, and at the same time, me and Paige made like 10 pinch pots, and Emmy made a weird bridge and a blueberry pie, and like,
Mm-hmm.
and like they had a great time, but I was still working the whole time. Like, I was still doing the things that I needed to do, and we were kind of like chatting, and they literally, like, they were right next to me playing with clay on a cardboard box. Like, it doesn't have to be fancy,
Yeah.
But they're responsible enough, kind of. Emmy's not, but like, I asked her today.
As long as you're not gonna like put it in their mouth or something, I guess.
Right. I asked Emmy today, like, I was trying to like explain some things, and I go, Emmy, do you want to learn or do you want to make? And she's like, I want to make. And I was like, okay, great. And I just ignored her. I was like, you do whatever you want. Like, trying to tell her not to put too much water. And after she was like, I just want to make stuff, I was like, put as much fucking water on it as you want. I don't care. Like,
I'm not cleaning it up.
Yeah, like, Paige is a perfectionist, so if something goes wrong, she freaks out. And Emmy's like, look at this blueberry pie I made in like 4 seconds, and it doesn't even look like it. Like,
nice.
She's like, I don't give a fuck.
And also, I just think you need to be gracious with yourself that you're not in the same state of where you were. So the productivity is not going to be, you can't compare it to where you were productivity wise without a baby. So
I think also a good account to look up is not Deedle. Who does the slip casting mugs that are like really, really amazing? And she's that cute ass 3-year-old. They just moved to like New Hampshire last year. Is it Deedle Goods?
Are you talking about Soja Clayworks? No.
No. Is it Deedle?
Dadle?
Dadle.
You're talking about Kate Westfall?
Maybe.
Kate Westfall. I don't think they moved to New Hampshire. They're in Virginia.
They're in Virginia. Flip Floyd.
She does have the slip cast mugs and things like that with decals.
Yeah. They're like really amazing.
Yeah, that's Kate Westfall. She did that. She had, I don't know if she's just got the one. I thought she has 2. Maybe
I don't know, but she takes one of them into the studio with her, and she's figured it out. So I don't know how, but she has.
Yeah, I mean, it took some time because she was relocating from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, she was in Oregon.
All the way to Virginia. I mean, and I think her husband is in the military or something like that, which is why they're
That's fair.
They're moving so much, but and it's just the 2 of them, I think. When he's deployed and stuff. So
yeah,
she's she had to figure it out. But her daughter's also looks like she's about 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So I guess just be gracious with yourself during this time. Also, I hear a lot of parents are like, you never get these times back. So like when they're this youngest, like you gotta appreciate it. But also they're the most vulnerable at that point. So you kind of have to be there every single second. Unless they're sleeping, I guess. But we're back.
Anyway, Deedle Goods.
Deedle. Kate Westfall.
Kate Westfall. Anyway, she's got a little, but it might be good to reach out to her, or to, I don't want to put her on the spot, but maybe if you recognize somebody that has a kid that's doing it, reach out to them and be like, how do you do this?
Another Wheel Talk listener that I was talking about earlier, I'm trying to remember her Instagram exactly. Siren Pottery. Siren _ Pottery. Kirsten. Yes. That's the one I was talking with that was talking about the figuring out the schedule and timing and stuff.
Yeah.
Been a lot more productive in the evenings.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's also weird when you're a new mother, if you're doing the pumping and the breastfeeding and all that, like that's like a hourly thing or every other hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's
those greedy bastards.
It's crazy. So it's a little weird for us to be telling you how to figure that out with a newborn. We don't have kids or anything, but been around nieces and nephews, and they're I couldn't imagine getting stuff done.
Yeah. I think giving yourself a lot of grace is really the biggest thing. Okay, but what about, let's say there's no kid, there's no new baby. Let's say there's no new baby. Like, how do you get back from a year hiatus? Yeah, like what I did, right? I think that for me, which was big, was getting back onto social media and being very consistent with it, or more consistent than I am normally.
Was getting on social media getting you into the studio more because you knew you had to produce content?
Kind of, yeah.
To post,
also,
so you're like, well, I have to be in the studio to make content to put on social. So
yeah, and also being really consistent with when I was going into the studio, like making a schedule, being like, okay, every day at 12 I'm gonna go in, every day at 2 I'm gonna go in, and then I'm gonna be there until 6 o'clock. Oh.
And is that based on, did you always have a plan for what you were going to do before you got there? Or is it just getting in the habit of getting your body to the space, and then things will happen once you're there?
Yeah. And I think that, like, it's the same, if you build it, they will come situation. Like, you just got to start doing it again, especially if you already had a presence somewhere in somehow. If you rebuild it, people are going to notice and they're going to jump back in.
There's another Amy that we talked to on the podcast before, Amy Boulay.
Oh, yeah.
From
She's
Trist.
restarted.
She moved from Cincinnati to Pacific Northwest, I think, Portland area.
Portland, yeah.
And it was at least a year, I think. And a lot of that's going to be, hey, I don't have a studio anymore. What do I do?
Yeah.
So you either have a makeshift, not so pretty studio and you make it work enough to where you can produce some work. And maybe it doesn't look so Instagrammable, but you have a space that you can make. Hopefully you have enough inspiration in there to get what you need to get done or get started. Not even saying like, hey, I'm going to get back to producing a restock every other month.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's get back in here and get some stuff made and explore some things that I was liking before and maybe put away some things I wasn't enjoying as much. And I think focusing on stuff that you like doing the most is probably going to be a good way to get you back in there too. If you enjoyed making certain forms or certain pieces more than others, that might be a good way to get you.
Yeah, I think definitely finding the things that excite you, because when they excite you, you're going to be a lot more excited about sharing those things, and then people are excited for you, and it's just like a whole snowball effect. I also did think of something. I thought that it was really helpful at the beginning of last year when I went back. So like I took a year off essentially, and then I went back to Washington where I did have a huge community and had some pots for people, and it said, "Hey, I'm set up here if you want to come."
What time period are you talking about a year off? What do you mean? When was that?
2020 to 2020.
Because you were
2020 to 2021.
Because you moved to Indiana and then you were just working production for Rebecca and you were focusing on just getting money from that and not making your own line of work.
Yes.
For a
2021 to 2022. But when I left Washington, or I went back 3 months later or something. I don't remember. But yeah. Yes. Because I was gone for a whole year and then we went back for ClayCon West last year.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went back, I brought all my stuff and people were like, "Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah." So if you had a community back where you were in a year, take a trip back and do a show there.
If you did shows and if you had a local
if you did shows and if you had local support, do a show there. Show your face again, be like, "Hey, I'm back." Also, it took me 2 fucking years to finish a place setting that I literally got ordered. Like somebody was like, "Hey, when you figure out your shit in Indiana, can you please do this place setting?" I'm literally delivering it in January.
You're like, "I cannot do any place setting work in the state of Indiana, so I must do it elsewhere."
Yeah, I'm literally delivering it in January, and they were like, had interest in the end of 2019. So like that's where we're at with that.
If
so
you can't give yourself some grace for that,
yeah, you got to give yourself some grace. Like I messaged her and I was like, "I'm so sorry, but it has been a fucking crazy 2 years." So and
it
she's
also
like,
sounded like
"That's
you
fine."
didn't really want to do it either, but
I did not, but I did it. I'm so happy I did because it looks beautiful. And actually, honestly,
imagine how much better it looks 2 years later.
Seriously, if I had done it 2 years ago, it would not have been as good as it is now.
And it's already paid for, right?
No. She had a $160 gift card, and so that'll go towards it.
Okay.
This is also why you don't get
getting a way better
cards,
place setting.
Way better. Way better. Oh my god. Significantly better. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, like you have to give yourself some grace, but just do it a day at a time. Those like the AA meetings are like, take it one step at a time, one day at a time. That's basically what you're doing and you have to do.
I mean, I think there's definitely some, like we were talking about earlier, of just showing up. I think a lot of people really just, I don't know if it's just a struggle to like get started, or if it's, seeing other people. Like I'm in the studio all the time doing updates all the time, so people just think I'm hustling every single fucking day. But it's like I've been doing it for 4 years, or however many years. So it's just so habitual that you just gotta start and then build on top. But don't feel bad if you like miss a day. It's like, all right, we're getting back to it. Like,
hey, we're just gonna do it. Yeah, like you just gotta get into your studio. Step inside the fucking studio.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to be sparked with some inspiration to get in there. Just like get in there, and then things will happen. Things will naturally spark while you're doing stuff.
Or they don't. Like I've literally walked into my studio, sat on a bench for 20 minutes and left. Like sometimes it doesn't work, and that's okay. You still went. You still tried. It didn't work, but you're going to go back the next day.
Well, what got you to like sit down? What do you mean? You went in and sat down?
Yeah, I just went in.
You didn't do anything?
No, I just sat on my stool, overthought a lot, and then left.
Okay.
I was very stressed and I was also very burned out.
Okay, so, there you go.
It was like during my burnout period. So like, if you're in a burnout period, you need to take a lot of grace.
To take take a day off and then
and also
I can save that till tomorrow.
Also, if you are going to take some time off, and you know it's a certain amount of time and you want to keep yourself accountable, you can say, hey guys, I'm taking this time off. I will be back in February of 2023. Like, count me in February 1st. Let's do an update or something. Like, set it early and put yourself in that position to do it, you know, and just work up slowly.
Yeah. And maybe don't promise like I'm gonna have a 50-piece update. Maybe just say I'm gonna have an update.
A small
It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Maybe you intended on having 50 pieces in there and it ends up being 30 pieces. Don't cancel it and move it because it didn't end up being 50 pieces. Just put up what you had.
Yeah, put up what you have. And if they don't sell out, do not get discouraged. Holy shit. The economy you cannot afford to get discouraged in this economy.
I still don't sell out.
Yeah, I don't either. Not a chance. I sold one mini fancy cup.
I feel like I would like to get that sellout feeling, but also I'm like, I don't even want to pack up that many pots. Like, I'm also like a go on the packing because I want to get stuff out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I'm not like hey, let's get them. I'll get them packed within the week. I'm like, I can't go to sleep until I pack as many pieces as I can tonight until I need to go to sleep. Like, it's 1:00. Okay, I'm not gonna go past 1:00, but I'm gonna pack as many as I can, and then I'll pack, a few more tomorrow, and then we'll go to the post office. But
right, and I'm like, hey, I had my update on Sunday. I might get them out Thursday.
Yeah, she's like, we'll get it out. It'll get to you, but
it'll arrive.
It's not my first priority, and it's not that I have other things in front of it that I need to do. It's just that I don't feel like doing it.
That's right.
I will get to it by Thursday.
I will ship it out sometime this week. I don't know when, but sometime. And you know what? I set the bar low. And they expect it, and it's fine.
Yeah, I think you gotta, just getting into that, finding your new, like, consistency.
Yeah.
Getting in the studio, setting an update, maybe you don't do an update every month like you used to. Maybe you do it every 2 months, and it's the same amount that you would have every month in the past, but it's every 2 months. So it takes you a little bit longer to get done what you did before. Or maybe it's every 3 months and you get done what you got done a month before, but you're in a new schedule here, so.
Yeah. I think that also, I don't know why I feel like I should say this right now, but I do. When we come back, or even when we start a business, we kind of suck. Like, usually your work kind of sucks. And unless you're like a professional, like have been doing this for 20 years and you leave for a year, whatever. But like, there's going to be some hiccups. And if nobody buys anything, that's just the way it is sometimes, And like, there's times that me and you both had times that nobody bought anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned from it. We were bummed about it at the time. And then we were like, oh, well. And we continued. And look at where we are now. You sell more pots than Jesus on a fucking show. And I don't, but that's okay. And like, but like, don't get discouraged if you're where you're at, because you're probably right where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you will grow, and you will make mistakes, and you will learn from them, and then you'll grow some more. So remember that, and just remember to keep on going. And it's taken us 6 years to get here, 8 years to get here. So like, this was not an overnight success. We are normal fucking people. Like, we didn't get famous on Instagram because of a pot that had 4 rings for a handle. Like, or some crazy thing, which well-deserved, fine. But like, we worked hard for this. So.
Yes.
And you have to work hard too.
Put the hours in.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna feel like every hour is like amazing either. Like there's it's still work at the end of the day.
Yeah. And sometimes you're gonna drive home from a show and be like, you know what, I could just be fucking doing remote work right now and it would be fine. And that's real life.
When you mentioned the show stuff, I think I guess one thing I could mention here, as you're selling stuff and getting back into the groove of it, take get some, think back to like the pieces that are your bread and butter. Maybe, there's a glaze color that always sold well for you, or you really love doing and people always tend to buy it. Maybe if you want a little boost and you want to make sure that some things sell, like get a few of those bread and butter things in there. Maybe you don't make the whole update bread and butter, but maybe you put a few mugs in that blue and green combo that you know will sell. I definitely take that into account when I'm going to shows. Like I was going to this show last weekend. It's City Flea. There's a lot of people that are, I said it was like a hipster kind of thing. So like have to have speckled white, have to have speckled black, have to have a lot of spoon rests in those colors.
Yep.
Have to have the blues and greens. Like they're bread and butter colors that I know are going to sell. And if I don't have them there, I'm just missing out on opportunities. So if I have the ability to meet that demand and I can have that forethought of like, I know this is going to do well.
Yeah.
And then even making that conscious decision when I'm setting out my pieces on the table. Hey, I'm going to put these 5 spoon rests on the table face up with the spoons on them so that I know those are the first things people are going to see because those are the most likely, I'm the most confident about that thing selling. So it's like, put that right in front of them so it's easy. They don't have to dig to find something that is popular.
Yeah, it's like with the thumb cups. Like, I know that those sell. And guess what? That's the only regular pottery I sell other than spoon rests when I'm taking those away. I probably should actually just keep spoon rests and leave the thumb cups. Anyway, moving on. I'm trying to get rid of all my regular pottery. But, like, it took me a long time to just be like, Becca, just sell fucking thumb cups. Like, that's all you really need to fucking sell. Like, that's it.
Some of it's spread yourself so thin on the forums, and then you're trying to get bits and pieces of needing all the different things that people might want. But some of it's like people love the oil bottles because they're not a mug.
Yeah.
And it's something they can add to their kitchen and they're gonna gift. Like,
and it's unique.
And they're all different colors, so they get to pick from like 12 or 15 different colors.
And you can use it for soap, and you can use it for this, and you can use it for this. Yeah, for sure. And I always think back on that, what Larry Bruning always told me. He goes, a simple shape uses a complex glaze. A complex shape, simple glaze. Like, and I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do feel like that kind of makes sense for shows too. Like, simple forms, go crazy on your fucking glazes. Like, you go nuts on your glazes. Like, you have so many different glazes, and you have like 5 different items, and that's it, right? And but if you have one glaze, you go crazy on the forms. You go lots of different options on forms, and you only have white. Like, so keep that in mind. That usually works out in in a selling format. Like, Rebecca has very few glazes, but a bajillion different shapes. And I have one shape in like 25,000 glazes. So.
Yeah, I think finding good combos is, for me, finding cool combos is fun.
Yeah, that's your like.
I find it really hard to like part ways with a combo though.
Yeah.
So but it's, hey, maybe we're past. Maybe I only have, there's good single colors that look good, but maybe I put those aside because they look good, but when I put it with a second color, it's usually going to sell before the one with the one color, unless it's like speckled white. Speckled white's always going to be a good seller. It's always going to go. But speckled light green, it's not always going to sell. But if you put it with a green and blue, hey, it's going to move. Like, maybe I'm a 2-color combo thing where it's like, hey, it's got a little bit of something different there.
Oh, so. I also have another suggestion. If you're getting back into the game and you're just starting again in a new location, I think you guys, if you've been following me, you know that I did the farmer's market this year. I made like almost no money, and it was so much fun. It was like, every Thursday I was like, great, farmer's market day, me and Deanna, and like I made friends with all of my neighbors. I made new business friends. I became more pronounced in the community. People now know who I am. You need to do a farmer's market. Do not look at the like, make sure
it's not going to make sense on paper, maybe.
It does not make sense on paper. Make sure you make your money for the year, which was like, what, $200 I made in the first day. And then I didn't make anything the next week. But like, you know, just go, talk to all the people, make friends, be in the community, because that matters.
That's a good suggestion for sure.
Yeah, you just have to be in the community if you move. You have to. Like, I felt like I was not going anywhere until I did the farmer's market. And now I'm like, well, now I have to do that farmer's market every year.
If you rely on the in-person sales, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's good to definitely have some form of in-person sale.
Agreed.
Even if it's just 3 shows a year, 2 shows a year, like something, because I just feel like there's more of a connection besides just people can see you and know you. Like, there's got to be more of a connection when they can visit you at a show, not feel rushed. They're not clicking the buy button as quickly as possible because they know they won't get it otherwise. I mean, they can get a sense of you through social, but they don't really know you, or they can't know as much about you, or I don't know. I just feel like the atmosphere is way more relaxed when you meet somebody in person at a show. They're talking to you, they're looking at the pieces, they're picking them all up, they can see like everything in front of them. Whatever they want to get, they can get. Like, there's no pressure here. And then if you're online, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many distractions outside of looking at your screen that keep your focus away from connecting with that person that you don't have in person. Like, you're the only thing that they're focused on. Like, they're talking to you at a booth or whatever.
Or even if you do a second sale in your studio or at a place in your garage or whatever. Like, Liz Cohen just did a second sale, and she was like, wow, that was so amazing. I'm like, yeah, they're fucking great. Second sales are the best. But like, also, she had a welcoming party, so she met a bunch of people. And like, she does mostly online stuff. She doesn't do shows, but she still like put out an invite, to her friends and her friends' friends and all those things. And that's like something that you wouldn't normally think about, If you sell online, do a second sale in person. Like,
oh man,
why not? What can hurt?
There's a girl I follow, not work related. I actually think we might talk to her on the podcast.
Oh my God, she
soon.
She really?
Did that. Well, I talked to her. I've been talking to her.
Oh yeah, she did that info chart just recently. Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, we're gonna talk offline here soon. But yeah, and she did a second sale, and she's in Brooklyn, New York, and she did a second sale. That thing was fucking hopping. She had a line of people.
Yeah.
I mean, she's obviously
people
in New York, but
seconds.
Like,
she
does only online sales for the most part, and she had a line of people. Like, obviously you could be in BFE and not think anybody wants to support you, but like, have you heard of Isaac Shu? Like, he has people lining up. He's been doing this for years at his place.
In the middle of bumfuck Kansas, like.
Yeah, like, if you meet people in your community and they know about you and they're like, oh, you make pottery, that's really cool. You have a newborn, that's really cool. You do this on the side, or you do this full time, or how do you make that work? Or, like, there's things that they can connect with you about, or they're like, oh man, I wish I could do that. I tried one time, or I never tried, or where can I learn that? Or, you can make connections with people. That's not like, hey, I do accounting or whatever. And like, this story ends there. Like, or the conversation doesn't really, like, I don't know. Not the shit on accounting.
And people in your past, like, we did our studio sale. Our studio, it's like big building that has a bunch of artists. We do a winter sale every year, and it's really great for me, Merritt, and Sarah. Like, really good. Because we're like some of the only people that have reasonably priced items, but also there's 3 people in our studio, so it's completely full. And Sarah didn't do it last time, but me and Merritt did it. And this time, Merritt fucking killed it. Like, she invited her old dentist, She invited like people that
Her
she knew
old
from like the
dentist.
past. Her old dentist. Sorry, Mary. Well, her old dentist bought like so much stuff. So much stuff. Like by the end of it, I was like, Merritt. And she was like, holy shit. Like, I'm not gonna say how much it was, but like she fucking killed that show.
You're like, can I help you with the stuff out to your car?
Right, basically, she fucking killed that show. And it's because, well, for one, she has home field advantage. And two, she like invited people from her past that like
And they
you wouldn't
probably
even
never
think
get to
to.
see her at a show or something.
Yeah, and they might not know what you're doing now, you know? Now if you're in a new location, that's one thing. But if you're in an old location, like I'm at Brandon and Teresa's house, and Teresa's mom just walked in and I was like, "Hey, hi." I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I have to go do a podcast." And she's like, "A podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do a podcast." She has no idea. Like,
Right.
why would she? You know?
Yeah.
And
People aren't that invested in you and like
yeah,
figuring out what's going on in your individual life,
yeah. So
even though you're like acquaintances or cross with somebody
right.
many years down the road. You never know.
Yep.
And I was listening to chat with Rebecca and Andrew actually on Maker's Playbook, and he was talking about
Linderman?
yeah,
Andrew Linderman.
yeah, Andrew Linderman. He was how he moved from Milwaukee to
Milwaukee to
Madison and how
Madison.
he's having to figure out a completely new,
Mm-hmm.
show schedule and customer base because he basically you not lose all your customers, but you did move like 2 or 3, I don't know the distance,
You
but like
create
3 hours
space,
away.
that's for
Like
goddamn sure.
yeah,
There's
it's
space created between those customers and you.
yeah, and the market options that you have, it's like, can you afford to be driving to and from 2 or 3 hours
Yeah.
for shows that maybe you're in your backyard before and
Yeah. Well, and like when I moved out to India, I was like, I don't even know how to fucking apply for a show. Because like when I was in Washington, I either knew the people that were running the shows or like, I mean, like obviously I knew how to apply for a show, but it was so much of a different way of doing it. And I
right.
always had a rec. Like I always had a recommendation.
Hmm.
Or, I
You knew
barely
somebody that
had
knew
to.
somebody and they
Yeah,
told you
I
about a show and
always, always. So it was like always a no-brainer. And yeah, and so when I moved out to India, I was like, I don't fucking know where to even start, you
hmm
know? So, and I mean, the Lawrence Farmers Market was Deanna who was like, you need to do this
hmm
with me. And I was like, great. Um, so it's still like a recommendation. And I mean, I don't think I would have gotten through this year without you and Deanna because I was like, I don't know what shows I'm going to do. And you were just like sending me shows and she was sending me shows. And I was
hmm
like, okay. It's hard. It's just hard to like sign up for stuff. And you're like, I have no idea if this is even going to be worth it, you
yeah.
know?
And maybe the shows work for you in your area. Obviously you're starting from zero, so
Yeah.
possibly like you might not have all the answers and you're going to go through some shit of like not picking a good show and it's going to be crap,
Yeah.
but I think you kind of got to go through some of that.
Yeah, you
Even
do.
though like I would love to be in a place and I would just plan it out, find somebody in that place, like bounce ideas off, like okay, what show's good, like, and then but it's going to be completely different. Like maybe the market is completely different
Yeah.
in that area too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I didn't think about this, but I think the part of the reason Cincinnati is like what industries are here, what people do for a living, so what kind of income do they make, and then what are they interested in? Like, is there kind of an art scene in that town? Like,
Right.
or are they in a mountain community or something where they like the outdoors a lot?
Right.
I don't like you don't know, or maybe
Yeah.
you can find out, but
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
or like
It's
what
a
people spend their money on is completely different. Like maybe making a butter crock is going to make more sense here than making berry bowls here or something. Like I don't know.
I swear to God, I will never get repentance for the butter crocks I've made in the past. They were terrible. Fucking hate those things. Butter crocks and flasks. Tim
I still
Ceramics.
I still have flasks that are sitting on my shelf that are bisque fired.
Fucking damn it,
I've still
man.
got some in my damp box. I hate to admit this, but I think I made those with Liz in May, and they're still in a damp box.
I think you did.
There's like 3 or 4 in a damp box still that are halfway done.
They're probably moldy as shit.
I just need to crunch 2 of them. They're so dry. I've like dipped them in water like 3 times over the last few months. They still need. I threw the body and then I like pinched it in, so it's like an oval shape, but I didn't put a bottom or top on it yet. And then there's one that's got the bottom and top but no spout. So I need to like cut the spout, or I don't know. Yeah, relocation's hard. I haven't done it necessarily, besides moving from Louisville to Northern Kentucky, but that was just a small studio move and moving my like house stuff and clothes and things like that. But
yeah. Also, I mean, you have to consider if you are a studio pottery where you go to a studio, you have to get a new studio, you have to have a whole new community, you have to like set up a whole new thing, you know. Like that can be hard all in itself. I was one of my past students messaged me, and I think I said this previously, but she was saying how much when she was at my studio it meant to her, and then she mentioned that she'd started she'd gone to a new studio in Alaska and it was a completely different feel and she didn't feel comfortable, and you know, she was still going to try it out, but it was definitely like a culture shock of sorts, you know,
just because the community is just different.
Yeah, just or like the vibe
or they already know each other, so she didn't feel welcome, or
and she's a little odd. You know, she's a little rough around the edges, and I just embrace that of her, you know, and I'm sure that they probably judging the shit out of her, which they shouldn't because she's wonderful, but like, yeah, so that could be a thing too, and you really have to find your space and your place in the community. Anyway, it sucks, but you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I was also wondering, like, some people move to places and they literally don't know anybody, so they don't have friends and stuff. So, you know, finding a clay studio is a nice way to like meet new people. Or you said the farmer's market. So like you've made friends and you've actually like hung out with them outside of the shows that you've done. So it's definitely a good way to like meet new people so that you don't feel so isolated.
I tried to convince Brandon, I'm still working on him, but I want him to sell bread at the farmer's market. Just because he's a super introvert and he doesn't like people, but I'm like, dude, you gotta have some friends. Like
some of the bread stuff, that shit sells itself. Like I see the bread people at these shows and I'm like, this same bread place, they just go crazy. Like people just show up and they're like, okay, what do you got? And they're like, I want that one. Like you don't really have to sell it.
It's bread. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was like, man, you really should do it. And he was like, yeah, well, I know. It's like, well, do you want to meet people? Like, you're a stay-at-home dad with three girls. Like, you need a buddy. But
a bread buddy.
Yeah, you need a bread buddy.
And then you're the one that people like at the end of the day, because if you got bread left over, you can't just take it home. Like, what are you gonna do? Eat all of it? Yeah. Like, usually, I saw him at the end of the show the other day. He was giving out bread to the other vendors. I was like,
fuck yeah.
He didn't come over to me, but I mean,
if I can be the neighbor to a baker, bless. Oh my God! One time, remember when I drove to Memphis the last time? I got a free bag of cookies from Earl, and they literally saved my fucking ass because I was starving, and I could not find a restaurant open that was after 12 a.m.
Who's Earl? Who'd you get it from?
He owns a bakery from the farmer's market.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So at the end of the farmer's market, you had to leave, and you got something from him. Okay.
Yeah, he gave me some cookies, and they like kept me going the whole night. I felt like shit though. I was running off of Red Bull and oatmeal raisin cookies.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, it was terrible.
It's only gonna go so far.
Yeah, it was fucking horrible. And then I slammed some spaghetti when I got here, and woke everybody up in the house. At 3 a.m. Anyway, do we have anything else to say? I feel like what we've said has been like pretty.
Yeah, this is more than I thought this today was going to be, actually.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a great topic. You know.
Yeah, I think it's relatable to a lot of people, whether you're relocating or not. Just
I agree.
Getting into the habit of showing up.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks.
And we'll catch you next time.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.
Yo, higgity yo. It's Becca here. Hey, just so you know, thank you for listening. And also, we have... What do we have again? A Patreon. We have a Patreon that you should go, and if you want to donate to, you could donate to it. If you don't, that's cool too. But just Google Wheel Talk Podcast Patreon. Don't do the other one, because there is a Wheel Talk on Patreon, but it's not us. So make sure you get the right one. It's in the show notes. And also, leave us a review because they're fun to read. Okay, bye!